One go round per story. No.
All right.
Classic debate rules.
Tyler wants a fight.
Maybe one rebuttal. Okay.
No, I don't want to fight.
I'll fight. Welcome, everybody, to This Week in X. We are here to discuss Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood, #2, which is an anthology book of mostly black and white stories by 3 sets of creative teams. I'm here with Tyler and Harry, and we're basically going to just lightning round right through this and talk about each of the 3 stories and just get her done. So are you ready to get bloody here with Wolverine? Let's go. Up first, and possibly most controversially, due to the creator involved, is Unfinished Business by Vita Ayala, who we've already seen this week, with art by Greg Land and his common team of Jay Leaston on inks and Frank D'Amata on colors, really just the one color. Tyler.
No female characters and only action pieces. Perfect one for Land, and I enjoyed it. Harry.
It sucked. I'm sorry. It's Greg Land doing a boring story. Vita Ayala's writing is fine. I don't think it's a great Wolverine. I don't think it matches up with Greg Land very well. It's harmless at best, but the idea that there are strong thoughts on this book are mind-boggling to me. And with that...
No, I mean, look, I'm not talking about the art here. I do have one little quibble about the story, which I forgot to mention, is that Sabretooth calling Wolverine old man seems really, really weird for me.
None of the voices felt right. I'm sorry. It felt like, someone doing their best Wolverine rather than something being comfortable. And it's another story of Wolverine in the snow beating up a hairy man. Like, it feels like we literally just did this in the last issue. Yeah. Like this put me in a bad mood.
I have nothing of note to say about the story. I mean, it's Wolverine Sabretooth again in the snow. It doesn't really matter. What does anybody remember any of the words other than that one of them said old man? No. But I will say Greg Land here proves why I honestly, unironically love him when he tries. If you just saw this divorced from knowing it was Greg Land or Greg Land traces, whatever, you would say, this artist is the next Jim Lee. That the art is incredible. Not only is it dynamic, not only the figure's so fun to see move, but he does great facial expressions because he probably took them from reference, but people take things from reference all the time. And he understands, which somebody later in the issue does not, how to knock back the contrast of a background when you have a really busy scene and you have a dynamic figure in the foreground. This, to me, I expected Greg Land to kind of fall down on just being in black and white, but I think it actually reinforced my love for him because, again, there's no women in it. But I will say that Greg Land is like so divorced from like the actual production of his art that he couldn't just like do the red. Like they needed Frank D'Amata to come in and do the red. That's me.
I thought that also.
I mean, look, I'm not saying every line artist has to be a colorist or care about color or whatever. There was one point that the blood was through the face and it just felt like they were like, Frank, put some blood on this page. Like it didn't even really feel like it was like in a place. It kind of just
so annoying.
Like...
But yes, you're right. That's exactly the problem.
Yeah. But Greg Land, my favorite X-Men artist. Yeah.
There is another reason why I think you really love the art here.
Why?
Because of the gorgeous hair of Sabretooth.
Oh, that's nice why.
Hair.
If you listened to the first episode of our podcast that wasn't on YouTube, secret podcast only knowledge, you know that I was thinking about choosing Greg Land as the illustrator of my life because I need to have amazing hair in all the illustrations. And I think that Greg Land draws some amazing hair in the story. All right, that's as much as there ever needs to be said.
Go fund me to get Greg Land to draw you in a book.
If you ever run into him at a convention and you can commission him to make our YouTube profile picture of me.
And you draw Peter.
I would love it. And I have great Greg Land teeth too because I smile
that's
just
true.
like his character smiled. Okay. Maybe it's just like a sympathetic response thing. Maybe I just see his drawing and I'm like, they all look like me. They're all so beautiful.
I'll screen cap you right now and just give it to him. Yeah, just trace this and then just, do the whole
really
thing.
Good O-face. Okay. Seeing Red is the second story by Saladin Ahmed with Kev Walker on art duties. Tyler.
so much body hair. That was the one that I laughed out loud. And I do enjoy watching having Arcade here. I think that he's about to appear in Rocks, so that is always a good thing to have a little bit of a connective issue here, even though this is just an anthology. It is a pretty standard Arcade story. What I found really interesting here is that the use of red is kind of pretty effective.
Yeah.
It actually makes Arcade look scary.
Yeah.
Over here, and it's not just used. The red is not just used to show blood. I don't think there's anything that is showing bloody here. It just keeps. I think the more you see the red, the more intense the story becomes until the end. So I like this a lot, and I have always been a fan of Saladin Ahmed. Kev Walker, I'm not very familiar with though.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, yeah, I thought this was great. This was easily my favorite of the three this week. Really, I mean, the writing was very solid and good. Saladin Ahmed did a great job. I think he felt more natural with Wolverine. But just Kev Walker's art, I've always really, really liked. And this is kind of a cleaner Kev Walker. It's a little tighter, which I found interesting in the context of the black and white. I don't know how I'd feel about it in other situations. I'm curious, but yeah, it just felt really good. There's a really great page of Wolverine diving off it looks like a cliff. It's just completely white with this, and he's in black silhouette with a red silhouette with a cage, I should say. And yeah, this was the one to read if you had to read one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I think you two hit a lot of my points. I think the use of red was great, and that it wasn't blood. It was Arcade's hair. It was like heat and lava. I think that was really clever. This is what I'm here for. This is why Wolverine should get an anthology book. Do something clever. So Ahmed actually just did a chapter in Harley Quinn's anthology book, which is also a black, white, and red book. It's actually called Black, White, and Red, not Blood. And if you have a chance to pick up one of the issues, although I could recommend several of them to you, issue number 3, it's only 99 cents on digital platforms. It's him with Javier Rodriguez on artwork, and it is amazing. And it's just like this. It's a twist. It's not the Harley Quinn story you expect. This is not the Wolverine story you expect. And this is what I want. It's not necessarily like a plot important story, but it's a story of somebody who's like, oh, what's some cool short Wolverine stuff for me to read? You would say this. I also think that Kev Walker does a kind of unexpected job here. He doesn't look like I expect him to usually look. I did a double take once or twice, and I think in a good way. Maybe the colors are doing too much work on Kev Walker usually. Maybe his line work needs to sing a little bit more, because I felt like the action was really clear, and this was just a delight. This is why I buy anthology books. This story right here. All right.
Yeah.
And I love that Arcade always has an inane rule, and the inane rule here was Wolverine, you can't kill things even though there's nothing to kill. And then Wolverine was like, oh, I don't even, but he removed the ethical quandary. He could have just been and there's people inside the suit, so there, but he took that out. And so Wolverine didn't even have to say well, I shouldn't kill people. He's like, how do I prevent myself from killing robots? It's almost impossible, which credit to Ahmed is a brilliant plot beat to play out as he Donkey Kongs his way up this platform. I mean, it's literally the screen of Donkey Kong. Did you guys get that with the ramps and so great with the
and they have that thing that live thing,
right? The meter. Boom, boom. Anyway,
I think
brilliant. So now, story number 3. Are you ready? Deep breath. Do We Die Today by CHRIS Claremont and Salvador Larroca. We don't get to say by CHRIS Claremont that much on our This Week in X read. That's much more for the classic read.
Yeah,
Tyler.
I mean, the first thing was wow, Claremont call her Kate.
Get it?
Yes, he's finally on board. I really enjoy Larroca's art here, which is not always the case. Sometimes his art doesn't come off as nicely or drawn or fully realized as in this case. I feel like there's a lot more detailed than what is usually his normal art is in a monthly book, and I really enjoyed it. I mean, there's a lot of Claremontism here. In your dreams, I'm the best at what I do. There is quite I would say among the three, this would be the second best use of red. Yes, it's used traditionally in the red, in the blood part. I also like the fact that the ladies' clothings are all have a little bit of red here and there, especially Kate's chonsam. So the one thing that the red is used, I thought, quite effectively here, or very effectively here, is it used to guide the reader's eye. So if you follow the red, it actually follows the panel, the way the panel is being arranged. So I thought that was pretty effective.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I thought this was fun. I didn't realize this was Claremont when I started reading this. So I was like, this is a different flavor. Like I realized very quickly, like, oh, and like there's a character called Beastie Brute, and I'm like, this is bizarre. But yeah, it was just like a lot of fun. It's not the worst Larroca. I like him a little bit more than others. But this is a lot of faces, and that cannot go well with him. But it did pretty well, and I didn't love the red in this, to be honest. I think, Tara, you got a great point that like you can see it kind of lead your eye. I think that's actually probably the best thing it has going for it. But it just seems it's a very digital kind of manufactured style, and I just feel like maybe this wasn't the right pick for a black and white and red, sensibility kind of thing where you want to have some more experimental stuff.
The thing I think with Larroca is that he renders so much. Like, even though people knock him for tracing or referencing or whatever, it must take him a long ass time to draw all of these shade lines and body hair and everything. Like he renders his backgrounds really fully too. He's not one of these people that just kind of like puts a slightly photo manipped background and like calls it a day. Like there's still rendering on the background. I think in a book without color, the rendering in the background really pulls attention from the foreground with his art. And there were certain points that I just really couldn't even see the figures, honestly, on the page, because the background had as much rendering as the foreground, and it was just too much.
Yeah.
So I definitely had that. But I would agree with Harry's point that the red here, I like how it's used for the story, like Tyler said, but I don't think the background red was needed. Like when the red was in the windows or whatever, it was kind of almost his excuse to not render, but it was that really gradiented, like digital red. And it kind of was like a little like what, like, why do we need this? Let the panel just be white, like give us impact. And so it kind of, because he colored himself here, it did kind of feel like he doesn't know just to when to like stop, like edit. Stop what you're doing, edit for a second. We didn't need that much stuff on the panel. That said, this is Claremont doing his Claremont thing as great as he does it. It's fun. He over-explains every character in the way that if you like Claremont, you do. Kate Pride kicks ass, which if you read Claremont, will happen. Yeah. It's just like, if we could just get him around doing little stories like this from time to time, it would be very pleasing for me. And he likes working with Larroca because they did Extreme X-Men together, and Larroca's fast. So like, is it so bad to put them together and get some stuff to bring us a little bit of joy now and then? No, it's not such a bad thing. That's what my response is.
We probably will see some of it in Legends, I think.
Claremont, we're never going to turn down, even if it turns out poorly. And here it didn't really turn out poorly. So I would say in aggregate, despite mixed feelings on story number 1, it sounds like we could actually recommend this issue.
Yeah.
I would, with a qualified, yes. It's
$5. That's a lot. I would recommend Marvel Unlimited, but I do think the last 2 in particular are a great time. Next week's It Creators sound killer, but that's another thing.
Well, I would also say too, I think this one really benefits from digital. Like I really like zoomed it the heck in and like went close on some of the stuff. I don't know if I would enjoy reading this one physically, actually. And then to be like $5 for the digital book, like, yeah, MU. So I think the official recommendation is approved for Marvel Unlimited. Enjoy it in 3 months. Yeah. So thanks so much for sticking around for our discussion of Wolverine Black, White, and Blood. We'll be back with other This Week in X videos. If you're looking for the other issues that were out this week, just check on the channel. And until next time, on behalf of myself, Tyler, and Harry, thank you so much for watching This Week in X from Crushing Comics. Be well.